So we're going to start by taking this example which we just described from our audio, that make a chatbot to respond to simple greetings in Python Kaggle environment. Now you, the user, is going to say hello, then the bots will say hi, how are you doing, or how are you. Now let us understand the code. Let me explain it briefly before you begin. We jump right into the Kaggle environment. So this is the user input, that is the user, this is the variable name user input is equal to input, putting you, the user, which is going to enter an input. Now it goes further to say if the user, which is you, enters an input equal to hello, remember the hello is HELL0 and an exclamation mark. If you don't enter it complete as this, there will be errors. If the user enters hello, the bot should print hi, how are you? Or else the bot should print I don't understand. So let's jump into the Kaggle environment. So let's go to Kaggle environment now. Now this is Kaggle. Just type Kaggle on your Google. You will come to this environment. If I right click it here, open another window. Okay. This is my Kaggle environment. Let me create a simple notebook just in case you missed the previous lesson, which I advise you to go back to. So let's see how we create a notebook, because a notebook is actually the environment you use for your Python code. So I go to create here and I come here and I click notebook. If I click notebook here, it will open a Python Kaggle notebook. Here I will enter the user, the name of the notebook. So I click here and I remove this option here and I call it Python Chatbot. For example, I call it Python Chatbot and I press enter. So the name of the notebook is Python Chatbot. Okay, so I can come back here and still create another one just in case you have not learned how to do it. If I come here again, or I come back here, if I come back to home menu, you see where my notebooks are stored. If I click on this one here now, I will check it. I see my Python Chatbot. I can still open it again. So I open it up, I click on it, fine. It comes back to my Python Chatbot. Okay, so you will see more details in the previous lesson. Okay, so I can decide to create another one just for those who are not familiar with it already. I can come to this plus sign here, click plus and click notebook again. Let me create another notebook. So I click in this here, remove this here, and I type Python Chatbots 2. I press enter. So I have Python Chatbot 2. If I click here, I come back to my home. I can see now, I will find out my notebooks will come here. If I click here and I check down, I see Python Chatbot and Python Chatbot 2. So let's assume we use Chatbot 2 now for our work. Now Chatbot 2. Now it opens the Python environment in Kaggle. So like we did in the previous lesson, you want to run a code, you simply come here and click this code so that the code box appears. If the code box appears, what we're going to do to make it easier, I'm going to go back to our notes and look at the code here. You can type this yourself, but just for the purpose of the lesson so that it doesn't become too long. So what we do is I'll highlight this now, copy to this point, right click it, copy. Let me come here and paste it in this code here. I'll just press Ctrl V. Okay, so let's examine it again. User input is equals to input you. If user input equals to hello, print hi, how are you? Else print bot. The bot will print I don't understand. So let's run this. Use the execute button here or execute cell. If I run this now, let me scroll down a bit. Let's see what it brings out. Okay, so it's still running. Let's see what it brings out. Okay, it is running. It's taking a while, so it depends on your network. And okay, now you can see now it has brought out you. You're supposed to type something. So now watch what I do. If I type hello, I type just hello, I omitted the exclamation mark, and I press enter. What did it say? It said, I don't understand. I don't understand means that because it doesn't understand the full, you didn't type the full context. So let me run it again. And I type the full one now. Hello, double L. And I put the exclamation mark and I press enter. It says what? Hi, how are you doing? So you can see now the chatbot is responding to me. Okay, so because it is stored in user input, it's available. Now, let me go back to my notes. Now, secondly, what do? Let's check this. Step 2, make it case sensitive. That is more friendly. What does that mean? If the user input is equals to input, you enter dot lower. What does that mean? Sometimes you can type your hello. If you type the hello here, maybe this is capital letter you typed in as input, it will still bring out this I don't understand because it expects everything to be in small letter. But just in case the user decides to use a capital letter, this function here, this code here will change everything the user uses to small letter. That's why dot lower, you can see it's the same thing. Input you. The only difference is the dot lower added here. When you add the dot lower added here, it converts everything the user enters into small letters. Then if the user says equals to hello, print hi, how are you? Else print I don't understand. So let's run this code. We'll run it in the second code button. So we'll go to the Python environment now. Let me click code to add a new cell box or code box. I put Control V here to put it. So the same thing here. So if I run it now, okay, it says you. Now if I use capital letter from the beginning, hello, now, and I press enter, it accepts it because it converts everything that is used to lower and can't respond exactly what is inside here. But let me try this one out. If I run this here on top again and I use capital letter as I used in the previous one, and I use exclamation, and I run and I press enter, it says I don't understand because that dot lower is not added here to convert this capital letter to small letters. I hope you understand it. Now let's make progress on using Python code. Sorry, I opened Excel by mistake. Let's move to our text here. So step 3, we want the bots to respond to multiple greetings. How do we achieve that? Now we said user input equals to input you dot lower, which is the previous code. If the user input is equals to hello, that is it can accept hello, or the user input is equals to hello, it can accept this hello without the exclamation mark, or the user input is equals to hi. Any of these three prints, the bot should print hi, how are you doing? That means it should accept hello, exclamation, hello without exclamation, hello, or hi, then it should print how are you, else it should print I don't understand. So let me copy this, right click, copy. I go back to my Kaggle environment, click a new code box or cell, click inside, Control V to paste it. Now you have the 3 inputs here. So if I run it, it gives me, I can just decide to type hi, which is this input here, and I press enter. It still recognizes hi, how are you doing? It recognizes what is being done now, because any of them, if I run it again and I decide to select just hello, which is the second option here, and I press enter, it still accepts it. If I type any other thing that is not among this, when I said hello, or I said, what's up? Let's say, what's up? I press enter. It says, I don't understand. Okay, let's move on. Now, another thing you can do with to generate a bot. Remember, we're trying to see how a bot works. A bot works by taking the user input and responding to the user input with text. Now, this one responds to different user inputs. For example, it says, while true, if the user input is true, that's while true. If the user inputs, the user enters an input. If the user input equals to high, print hello. That means it's giving each of the inputs has their own response. They are not the same. In this code here, all the inputs have a single response, which is hi, how are you? But in this code in here, the different user input have different responses. Like hi, the bot will say hello. Else if how are you, the bot will say I am doing well, thanks. If the user says bye, the bot will say goodbye. It breaks and says else, print I don't understand. Okay, let me adjust this properly because it's supposed to be in the same row here. So I copy this now, copy this here, right click it, copy. You can type. You can pause it here and go to your Kaggle environment and type the code since it's going to be long for you. So I go back to my Kaggle environment. I open a new code box, right? Put it here, Control V and paste it. So this is it now. So let me run this code. If I run this code now, it gives me an error. Now, every time you see an error, don't be afraid because errors help you to learn. Now, what is the error? It says find tokenized line 10, which is this. Else, it tells you what the issue is. Indentation error. On indent does not match outer indentation level. So I think I need to move it backward a bit. Move it, okay, to be in the same line with this. Let's see and run it and see. Beautiful. So it gives, you can see it's on the same line. All of them should work under the while true. So now let's test the input. The first one is high, so I'll type high. If I type high and I press enter, it says what? Hello. The next one is how are you? Let's see it. How are you? And I press enter. It says I'm doing well. You can see that the bot is responding to the way it was programmed or coded. Then else if it is bye, I say bye. I type in bye and I press enter. It says goodbye. Any other thing you type, it will say I don't understand. So you can see how a chatbot actually works in the background. That's the essence of this lesson. Now let's do some one or two more. Now to teach the bot to memorize, you can say name equals to inputs, but what is your name? And the bot will print nice to meet you, your name, meaning that by the time you enter your name, the bot will take your name, will say nice to meet you Vincent, nice to meet you Peter or whatever. Then while true, if the user input is entered, it should be lowered. If the user input is high, the bot should print hello Vincent. If the user input is bye, it said goodbye Vincent. So let's try this out now. Okay, I copy this code here, I right click it, I click copy. Like I said, you can type this out carefully. If you have any errors, you simply can come back to this section of the video, pause it and watch exactly what was entered. Now I go back to my Kaggle environment, I open a new code box and I click here and I press Ctrl V to paste it. So this is the input now, this is the code here. Now let me run it. If I run it now, it said what is your name, which is the first thing here. I enter my name is Mark, for example, and I press enter. It said nice to meet you, Mark. It has taken your inputs and giving you a greeting with it. Nice to meet you, Mark, which is this. Yes, it says you can also type hi. If I type hi now, I press enter. It says hello Mark because of what it took. If I type in, I run it now again and I type the last one bye and I press enter. Okay, it types because it still asks me what's my name, so I'm supposed to respond to that. So nice to meet you, bye, because I type bye. Let me just type bye again and press enter. It says goodbye. So the error was from me from the beginning, so I can repeat the process. I click run it. I say, what is your name? I said Lois, or whatever. Press enter. It said, hi, nice to meet you, Lois, and I type in bye and I press enter. I say goodbye, Lois. So you see how this code works. Let's see whether we can do one more final thing. Let's see how we can store replies. Response equals to hi, hello, bye, goodbye. While true, if the user input lower it, if the user input response is print response user input. If user input says bye, break, print this. This is a little bit complex, but let's see what it will generate for us. Let's see what it's going to generate for us. Okay, let's go back to I open a new code environment and paste it. Control V, responses. Let's run this and see. Okay, it says you enter. What is it asking you to do? If you say hi, it will say hello. If you say bye, it will say goodbye. This is another way just to write. If I say hi, let's see, I press enter, it says hello. It's talking to me. If I say bye and I press enter, it says goodbye and it terminates. You can say hi. Okay, the user responds my user inputs. Then if you use bye, it breaks and terminates the program. So this is how gives you a simple idea of how a chatbot works by responding to the user, taking the user input and responding to the user's based on the inputs given by the user. So I hope you have understood this point. So you can practice this based, okay, let me just scroll it gradually so you see it. You can practice it. You can practice each one of it for your own learning.